I was annoyed at the show.
This morning, family members of the Menendez brothers pushing back after a lengthy press conference from the top prosecutor overseeing Erik and Lyle's case.
That did not need to be a press conference at all. That could have just been paperwork that was filed with the court. The whole thing was unnecessary.
A response to District Attorney Nathan Hochman laying out in painstaking detail Friday why the evidence the Menendez brothers have offered, alleging sexual abuse by their father, doesn't mean they should receive a new trial for murdering their parents in 1989.
While it may have been a motivation for Erik and Lyle to do what they did, does not constitute self-defense. I also understand that when it came to any corroborating information about that sexual abuse, it was extremely lacking.
Hochman's skepticism about the Menendez brothers' story raising even more questions now about whether he will also refuse to support their separate push for a judge to resentence them next month, which wouldn't require a new trial, but rather make them eligible for parole immediately after spending more than 30 years in prison.
We'll be looking at the rehabilitation. Part of the reason I met with all the family members who wanted to meet with me is that that's a factor as well.
Hochman's office, in an unusual move, also releasing this new video with their overview of the events. Notable given the role recent streaming series and documentaries have played in putting the case back in the spotlight. Something the Menendez brothers acknowledged when they spoke out last week, calling into TMZ's Two Angry Men podcast with Harvey Levin and their attorney, Mark Garagos.
It really did actually move a lot of people to understand the childhood trauma. In that way, I think we are grateful.
And there have always been a few legal avenues for the brothers to pursue, so this one seems to be foreclosed. So where does the case go from there?
Yeah, you're going to hear me say this a lot over the next month, but there were 3 potential paths. This was about getting a new trial. They would not have gotten out of prison right away. It's still up to the judge what to do about this, right? But then there's the resentencing, and that's really where all the action is going to be next month when they're in front of a judge. There's also clemency. The DA pointing out the governor can do this right now. They can go scot-free right now. And interestingly, the governor saying in a statement, still deferring to the DA, saying the governor will defer to the DA's review and analysis of the Menendez case prior to making any clemency decisions. So he's deferring to the DA, even though it is totally in his hands.
He's deferring, but not saying he'll follow the DA. So saying he wants to look at it, and then he'll make his clemency decision.
Yes.
Thank you, Laura.
I appreciate it. Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.